We are in the gateway of the North. It's the city of North Bay, Ontario, Canada. The northern part of this province, as you see the river flowing, as it's officially spring on the calendar. The spring equinox has hit, but still some snow out there. There's a look all around here of the beautiful city of North Bay and the North Bay Memorial Gardens, as we have taken over inside where normally a junior hockey team plays, but now there's 4 sheets of curling as the teams making their way in here for session 10. It'll be lots of fun. Luke Coley here with Sandra Rolvag for session 10. Japan taking on Russia. Pivotal game for both these teams at a 3-2 record.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these teams bounce back from their last game. Japan with a heavy defeat to China earlier today, and Russia with a very surprising defeat last night, giving up a 4 also to China, giving up a 4 in the last end. They'll be quite upset, but hopefully they've had a good night's sleep.
And they have lost 2 in a row, including that devastating loss yesterday to China. They get a chance. They still control their own destiny, as we will meet the teams for Japan. Their lineup today: Arisa Kotani at lead. Second, Mayo Ishigaki. Their third, Kaho Onodera. And the skip for Team Japan, Tori Kawana. And they will take on their opponents for Russia: Julia Guzieva. The second, Galina Arsenkina. Their third, Julia Porchunova. And skipped by Victoria Moiseva. As we look at the standings, Canada and Sweden stay atop the list at 5-0. Korea right behind at 4-1. Then Czech Republic, Japan, Russia all at 3-2. China just behind at 3-3. Swiss and USA at 2-3. Italy and Denmark on 4 losses. Scotland and Germany rounding out the field. As the usual handshakes between the teams. Pivotal game. Both teams coming off losses, but one's going to be victorious and try and get the momentum going back in their side as we look at all the games going on here in session 10. Sweden still unbeaten at 5-0, taking on the Czech Republic. Well, sheet B is USA and Switzerland. Identical records there. We're on sheet C, our feature match, and Germany takes on Italy on sheet D here at the North Bay Memorial Gardens. Thanks for tuning in. The Ford World Women's Curling Championship 2018. Teams will get the go-ahead to get out on the ice. And it's been a long haul for this Russian side. They went through the Olympic Winter Games. They struggled. It was their first real major world event. They played at the Europeans. They were victorious in 2016. But now here at a World Championship following those Olympics.
Just it. That's, I don't think many teams have played the Olympic Games but not a World Championship. So that's a bit new. But, you know, European champions have certainly taken over the role of the women's team in Russia, sort of edging out the Sidorova team now over the last couple of years. They'll be the next big one to play out of Russia, and they're well on their way there. Could very well be a medaling team, but so far a little shaky this week. For the Japanese, I don't think many expected too much of them coming in. Very young players, very unknown, haven't played on the tour very much, but they've played some really good curling, and they've been a positive surprise to this event. I'll be fun to see how this pans out.
They're very aggressive, and both teams are very aggressive in the style that they play. They'll have no problem putting stones in play and reading the angles. Mentioned it earlier in a couple of games with Japan. This is all inexperience for this Japanese squad. They came out, they won their Japanese championship. They're mixing up their lineup throughout, keeping people fresh, getting that experience, learning how to deal with different circumstances, and playing in front of thousands of people is something new to them. As Japan will have the hammer. They won the last stone draw challenge, and Russia will throw first, have the yellow stones. We are almost set to begin here. It is session 10. This is game number 6, so after this they'll be halfway done their round robin portion for each of these teams. in his session 10 of 20 round-robin sessions. Julia Guzieva, 29-year-old lead for Russia, will get us started here this afternoon. Well, knowing the way they play, not surprised to see centerline guard to start off the game. Youngest player in the field, Arisa Kotani, 17 years of age, is also the vice skip, so she'll hold the broom for Tori Koane. Now, Sandra, both these teams coming off. Russia had a long break. They lost last night. They had the morning off. Extra time to sort of either use last night as motivation, or is it tough? Do you want to get right about it back on the ice as soon as possible?
Probably will right after the game, but I think probably a longer break is better. But Japan, they suffered such a big loss to China this morning that they might have processed that loss already halfway through the game, so maybe not too hard for them to bounce back for the game against Russia.
Well, corner freeze, and still shot stone belonging to Japan. Well, the freeze attempt comes up short, but at least it can be used there. That's definitely the way that you want to miss that rather than bouncing off.
Looking for the freeze here on the red stone. Saying that short is okay here for Argentina as well.
26-year-old second. And Sandra, you mentioned this team sort of taking over the Russian curling title and being the team to play at the Worlds for the women, and beat them in a 4-1 series to get to the World, get to the Olympics, get here. Well, comes up a little bit short. Sidorova is the reigning world silver medalist too. It's not a team that was on the downside. They were right there at the top of their game at the silver medal from the Worlds, and you come in and dethrone them.
Well, it's good to have some competition. Sidorova's fairly much alone on the top of the throne for many, many years, so to have two really good teams knifing it out and fighting it out for the championship appearances, that's just a good thing for any curling nation.
Well, Mayo Ishigaki will end up hitting their own, trying to get by, maybe get rid of that, go that red onto the yellow, but it's the same to be said for the Japanese curling side. Their Olympic rep wasn't able to play at Nationals, so you're getting a different Japanese team. And they're getting that experience. They want to play a lot of close, be in these games, compete.
Yeah, still I knew that before this event and before the Japanese championship, and I still expected another team to come. They have a handful of good women's teams in Japan. Anogo Sawara, we've seen before. She played and she lost to this team in the final. there's more to pick from the women's side in Japan probably than on the men's, but we'll see a different men's team in Vegas as well, and we'll see how they fare. A very young team to come there from what I've heard.
Just not quite able. They're trying to go all the way around as we look at the rules of play. 6 ends must be played. 38 minutes of thinking time given to each team, and 1 60-second timeout. Ishigaki sets the green lights out. Obviously, the system, the eye on the hog, released before, and trying to tap that one back, keep their shooter there. It is Japan with the hammer, trying to use that as an advantage. They couldn't capitalize earlier today against China. Well, red, yellow, red, punch that one right through. And Julia Porchinova. Well, good shot getting rid of him. Knew you were going to end up losing their shooter. So just one stone in the rings now. Kaho Onodera. Well, makes the run back, and it will hang around 12 foot. Very nice from the Japanese third. Well, if they hold this one out a little bit more, they can make that run back and stick it in behind cover instead. Slides out to the wing. Well, trying to get as much roll as they can. They won't. Sits in the 8 foot. So Onodera, another opportunity to make this roll. It was the Kuwana team that won the Japanese national championship, but Onodera comes as their 5th. She's played every game so far. She actually has experience. She played at the Olympic Winter Games in 2014. Played second for Ayumi Ogasawara, who said actually lost the Japanese final to this team. So now joins them and is playing a fair bit to try and add her experience.
Yeah, I'm not always a fan of switching up a team and taking out a player from the original lineup, but I believe this is a team coach decision, and more of a team decision than anything, I believe. It doesn't seem like it's affecting their play or their morale.
Yeah, they're always, you wouldn't know that if they were 10-0 or 0-10. They seem to always have a lot of smiles on. They're always every game in the same spot doing their warm-up stretches and getting ready with a smile on their face. Definitely become a fan favorite everywhere they'll play.
It's probably a good move to bring in someone with a bit of experience, just to calm the nerves of the younger ones.
Well, the first of skip stones, Victoria Moiseva, It's a nose hit. So give this one a go to try and make the roll.
Seems to be the call. See how much weight she throws here. Chance you might roll a bit too deep. I'm going to try and keep this in front of the tee line. At least on it.
Tori Kawana struggled a bit earlier today. An 11-4 loss to China. Nose hits that stone in the 12-foot. Well, I'm sure we're going to see Moiseva go aggressively to try and make this roll. Because I think that red guard's far enough out that even if you roll out here, the split's a difficult shot.
Just saw Japan throw down this line, so should have a good guess, but this one seems to be tracking as well.
Half into the 12-foot, and this is going to be a chance for a blank here in this first end of play. So final stone of this first end, Tori Kawana. Try catch this one on the high side, hit, roll out, and there it is. So first end will be blanked here between Japan and Russia. Our live coverage of the Ford World Women's Curling Championship continue between Japan and Russia.
Уже на последнем не хотелось, вот на первом, наверное, надо было мой мощный нолик попробовать. Ну, как-то вроде двигали щетку с края камня до внутреннего края камня.
Мне составили такое же.
Да, а в итоге, а то бы мы и то поменяли.
悪くない。
こっちやっぱ帰ってきたり帰ってこなかったり。
怖いね。
振りたなければ帰ってはくるけど。
そうだね。ちょっとだけ来る。そうね。まあでも今滑ってる。こっちが一番滑ってる。外も使ってるから。
Секунда вверх вообще не отличается. Секунда вверх вот этот пришел 15 что-то там с ним онаって思ったけど 14.80 и 14.80 ну то есть как бы он пришел чуть слабее, но они все равно
でもそんな変わらないと思ったりして。
Well, look at the Russian skip, Victoria Moiseva. They've lost 2 straight games. They started 3-0, but have since dropped 2 straight games and 1 giving up 4 in the 10th end. Just one that really see what a team's made of if they're going to be able to rebound from it or use it and as motivation and a learning experience.
Чуть-чуть он больше свалил, вот здесь по некатанному пошел. Молодец.
And this time the first stone goes into the rings. A little different play by the Russian side. So top 4 foot. Obviously the center line guard, Guzieva.
Отлично. Ну чё, как он пришел?
前半か14半か。フリーズ。ちょっと曲がりそうじゃない？
Well, see how Japan tries to use the stones in the house. See if they continue to play their aggressive style, even after a tough game earlier today. And I think that one just light, or she maybe just get it going. It's tough to.
A little bit of mix of both, maybe. Really had to come around there and freeze or tap the shot stone.
See the coach, Sergei Belanov, coach of this Russian team. And with a good setup around the center, Moiseva is going to try and bring all the play to the center of the ring, center of the house, by peeling the corner guard. Well, they'll add another one to the center here. Arsenkina plays the peel. Yuji Nishimuru.
That's the guy that knows this team better than anyone.
He's the one putting in the lineup each game of who's playing what. So we see Mao Ishigaki, who did not play earlier today in their game.
Gets second prize here. Let's open it up. Pushes the red stone into the house, so bringing the play in.
It's funny how sometimes a missed shot, but actually a miss the right way works out in your favor. Now it changes Russia's plan. You miss that and just peel the top one. You gotta probably having another one come in. Instead now they got to hit and roll.
Just can't make the hit and roll here. Might leave a double. But that is pretty good.
Oh, very nice in behind. So just yellow Russian stones in play right now.
Might get all 3 yells going here. Try and angle it back, catch half the rock on the high side of that stone top 8. Try and roll the shooter off the center line. That helps.
Clears the center line guard. Still, Russia lying 1.
The good part for Japan is that the left to guard red now, so they'll be running in one of their own stones. So if Russia leaves another run double here, they could actually make the run double, stick it in behind the guard. I'm going to try and keep this online.
Comes in, lies two, but is there room to make a play on both those now?
Well, you can certainly just slash them out if you want to just double them out, but shooter would roll out as well. Pretty tough to get to the inside, so it looks like they're just going to make a hit and roll, probably leave one yellow around, maybe try and squeeze it out in the open, keep the thrown rock in the rings, just kind of open that scoring area a little bit. Just like that, really.
Hit, roll over, very nice.
Yeah, can do much more than that. You catch it thinner, get the double on the L's, but you would roll out yourself.
Oh, very nice. Sometimes nice to see a young team like this realize you don't have to get rid of them completely. You just move them around, you still throw weight. Important to keep your shooter in play.
Especially when you have the last stone advantage. You don't mind keeping a few opponent stones around. If they're in around the 12th, it's just about having a bit of room to score. Now we get a bit of a half shot here from Portunova.
It is Russia lying two. We're playing the second end. Both teams come in 3-2 records. The playoff started right now. They'd both be in a playoff position. Three-way tie for fourth. Czech Republic, Japan, and Russia. So we look over at the Czech Republic, taking on Sweden. In the second end there, 5-0 Sweden. Trying to get past the front, get enough, and will be able to hit, roll out. And shots like that, the reason she's able to be an Olympic champion, trying to join fellow Swede Annette Norberg as the only teams to win Olympic gold and then world gold in the same year.
Well, she might have a chance to try and go back to back in 4 years, just like Annette.
Annette, yeah. Very young team and already trying to build a powerhouse, another one. Between Norberg and now Hasselborg for Sweden, you had Margareta Sigfridsson, her team, with Maria Pritz throwing 4 stones. Won a silver medal at the Olympics in 2014.
So that's 3 golds and 1 silver in the four last Olympic games. Pretty dominant.
Ну, может быть. Как бы, если мы не очень хорошо привезем, может быть. Просто видишь, он замазан, и плюс там камень стоит под ним. То есть мне нужно гард прям вообще облизать только.
Нолик был, вот когда пришел.
Да.
0,05.
So as we showed you that update, it was hit and roll made by Japan to the back of the button. So now Skip Stones and Moiseva trying to draw down to it.
They could have played the draw to the same spot, Japan, but they wanted to hit that one on the wings to maybe bring that red stone on the left into play for a multiple score.
That's very close. Looks like it might just be that red stone that shot. But because it's behind the tee line, not much that Japan can do with it, and that yellow is in such a good spot for Russia to use. Unless they can try and manage the angles to get rid of both the yellows.
Doesn't waste much time in the hack. We've seen that before. I think just trying to take this Yellowstone away and keep the shooter in play. She'll definitely wreck on her own though. That is actually a pretty good result.
It's a lonely yellow surrounded.
Slightly unlucky with the angles. Kind of halfway angles the yellow onto the back red a tiny bit, but still would be close to possible to score 4 if this was the last one for Japan.
Можно, конечно, вот так поставить, но мы можем перевалить и свой оставить открытый. Давай. На 4? Наверное, побольше надо стать. Мне кажется, что да.
Вот стоит 2 за, да?
Но, хотя...
I have to say it's been a really smart end by Japan. Played it really patiently and cleverly. And all of a sudden it's a bit of pressure on Moiseva.
Стоит ли это? Ну, она вот это вот делает, у нее прям держится. Либо мы вот туда подвозим и ждем, что она не пробьет двойной. Если встанем, хотя если встанем даже вот так, наверное, будет не страшно. Ну, вообще, да. Так она точно не пробьет нас. Да. Но она может пробить. Ну да. Вот через этот, но если мы его перемажем немного. Давай вот так. Вот сюда? Да. Не очень нравится бить прям.
It seemed like the call was to play the hit on that red before Moiseva went down to the hack. Porchinova saying, you know what, you should play the draw here, it's a better call. And the skip agrees, and that's what they're going to do.
The draw or the guard or try and corner freeze.
I think corner freeze is the most optimal spot according to Porchinova, and that's what they're going for with a few options.
Well, important communication now for this Russian side where they put this stone.
It doesn't get frozen. That probably does the job.
Can you go yellow, red, yellow?
You can, but good chances to stuff it in the back red. Might have to play it anyway though for 1.
It's probably the shot to get 1. If you needed for 3, you could try the Hail Mary off the top yellow guard, but I don't think they're in Hail Mary position yet.
Not taking a lot of ice in this one. Throwing an 8. Assume that's 8 seconds from hog to hog, so a bit of weight.
So trying to go yellow over the top to the red to the yellow.
Yeah, we'll see how the angles play out here. If it's just for the 1 or there's any chance to get more.
Wow, and they won't get any. They'll end up just peeling the top one, and it's going to be a steal of 1. So Russia on the board first with the steal. Give up a steal as they did in their first end earlier today. Russia leads 1-0 after 2 ends.
И ролл у нее хороший получился, сюда тоже было с ним, да, сложно. Пришлось уже прям вести фриз.
Такая, что даже бросить так как-то непонятно.
Да. И было реально страшно.
Витки поменьше все-таки, чем у меня, точно с аутом.
Да, да,
Хорошо,
я,
мы
видимо,
уже
добавляю.
чуть-чуть меньше ставим, но, наверное, надо не бояться, может быть,
Ага.
смотреть дальше.
Да, реально, мы подвинулись вот так, и еще бы можно
Да,
было.
можно.
И
内外も滑ってそう。内外か。内外、まあガードの時16半でそこだったから、まあ滑ってると思うよ。お水飲んでこようかな。そうだね。
Что ведешься? Да, хорошо. А можно? Да, да.
So 1-0 here. We play the third. A steal by Russia as they try to snap a 2-game losing streak. Japan trying to avoid a 2-game losing streak. Japan will have the hammer. Here's we play the third. Luke Coley with Sandra Rovag, the Ford World Women's Curling Championship. It's centerline guard. Little change though this end.
Yeah, corner guard to be thrown by Japan. Seen this before from the Japanese. They'll throw a corner even though there's a center guard in play. Just so they have that chance to bring the play out to the wing.
So corner guard out to the wing in the guarding the 12-foot.
Yeah, slightly wide, but still usable there. Be a bit tough to roll all over there from the center line, but you can definitely come around with a draw later on if they have the chance.
Julia Guzieva, the lead for Team Russia, played at the Olympics in Pyeongchang and is a member of the European Championship team that won gold in 2016. Well, getting a little energy, trying to get some of the cotton candy out of there while keeping her hands a little clean. I think I've seen some guys on the crew doing that. Try to get past the front, trying to get at that one in the rings, but it's going to chip off the front.
はい。ちょっと緩そうじゃないかい。
14.4。いや、ウェイトだと思う。
ウェイトかな。
Well, we'll look over USA Switzerland over on sheet B. USA gets one in the first, but Binya Felcher has won 2 in a row after starting 0-3. Two-time world champion. A mess of guards out in front trying to get around. Get to the button to score a second point. Just too much weight, chips off the back. And only one, so they don't get the extra point. So all square 1-1 after 2. Well, as you can see, a good look there. They can see all of that stone and a little bit of air. Ishigaki an opportunity to try and make this double. Well, won't make the double, but goes nose-nose and leaves their stone in front in that control position.
Повыше! Было 30, и он въехал в дом? Да. Что, на 40? Да. Добавим много. Шестой! Добавим много. 6-5! Только Фортунова! Легче, легче! 5! Подвалить можно! Надо валить! О, не надо, не надо. О, чуть-чуть свалить. Чуть, да. Пошутила, не надо. Чуть. О. Не знаю, мне кажется, это правильно. Просто мы снимаем, оставляем.
Well, guarding up shot stone in the forefoot. Jump over Czech Republic and Sweden. Hasselborg an opportunity with the hammer. Draw the house. Get a second point. Doesn't look like that one's in the back. So this is an opportunity to get a deuce.
Should be pretty routine. Quite a lot of room for error, especially when you have Malbergs and Knockenhauer on the sweep.
Well, can draw down right to your own. Use it as a bit of backing if you need.
Sweeper's delight.
Skips love those as well when you just have to hit the paint. And Sweden will get there too, so first score of the game, it's a 2-0 Sweden lead over Czech Republic.
Men alltså den här stenen är så lätt. Jag har ju fått en jävligt...
Well, Japan unable to get at that one, and now trying to hit, roll another underneath, take away the run backs, protect that stone in the forefoot.
That's pretty good.
Does two things with one stone by getting rid of the guard that could be run in, and also taking away the run back of those stones on the center.
Looking to play the double on the yellow guards here and roll back to the same spot, really. Leave a corner guard and a potentially a stone you can run in. Look at the one Russia just took away. Makes the double. Rolls a little farther than they were hoping for, but that's still pretty good. Doesn't seem like Russia is guarding anyway.
now basically changed their mind from playing for a steal now to try and play for a force. Porchinova, of course, was the alternate at the Olympic Winter Games. Got in to play 3 games late in the round robin there. Yuliana Vasileva, who was the third, is not here with this team. To make the lineup change, brought Anna Sidorova as their alternate and Porchinova playing third.
Porchinova is also World Junior Champion, playing fourth, winning at home in Sochi in 2013. Only the second Russian women's team to win the juniors. Ludmila Privikova won it in 2006.
But unable to make that one, actually push that one in, so an opportunity to use that miss, capitalize on it.
That's a bit of a bad mistake. We might have another one here. Maybe just running a bit straight, that's what.
Yeah, caught both teams in that same spot as they hit, roll out, but they don't remove the stone they're hitting.
Я изнутри била на 4 на раскатке. Ты стояла вот так.
И он прям отходил, и отходил, и отходил, и снаружи пришел.
Хочешь поменьше станем?
Я
На
помню,
3.
что показала мне, да, типа вовнутрь.
Мне кажется, 4.
Есть такая, ой, как-то прям очень.
Так, на 4.
Хорошо.
Ну, да, 4, я думаю, да.
Будет чуть-чуть держаться, в конце подвалит.
Ну вот как сейчас мы боковой у нее видели.
На 4 я на раскатке била, на 3-4. И Юля стояла больше, и он только в самом конце в него приехал. Я думаю, что удержите.
Skip stones. Moiseva, delicate hit because she has to deal with not jamming on the back one. Does have all the rings to roll to.
We're just trying to look to roll to the forfeit here.
The hit, now where does it roll to? Right to the back button for 2 to lie 2. I was trying to get them off of that one. Don't know much Russian, but I think she said no to the sweeping. As rolls off to the side, able to make the shot, lie 2. But the intensity shown there from Moiseva. Well, ends up rolling the other way. They're hoping to roll towards the other Yellowstone. Maybe get a mistake by Russia.
Согласна. Стали гораздо меньше, чем вот Юли тогда. Потому что, ну, прям держится у всех очень.
Да, даже у них вот отходил.
Да. Тоже на 2.
В сторону 3 будет даже контрол.
Хорошо.
Well, right out of Victoria's hand. Guzeva, Arsenkina, well hit, roll out. Not quite, they actually catch that back one. I got ahead of myself, looked like it was rolling out and they'd have a blank opportunity. But they get a gratuitous chip off that back yellow to lie 2.
逆の方がいい？こっちの方がまだ使ってるかも。
使ってはいるね。
ごめん、逆にしよっか。8で。
Look in, United States of America taking on Switzerland. Jamie Sinclair. Final shot looks like 2. She can make the hit maybe for 3. Well, there's the hit. We'll get 2 out of it as they clip their back one. So USA gets the deuce with the hammer, lead 3-1 after 3. And the draw here to get 1. Sliding all the way through. Tori Kawana unable to make the draw to the full 12-foot and gives up a steal of 2 to Russia. Another unforced error, meaning a 3-0 lead for Russia after 3 ends.
今ほぼほぼ測れなかったんだけど、14とか14で抜けるかな。14じゃ抜けないんじゃない？13後半とかかな。いやー、一番使ってるラインで終わる。
Well, a mistake by the Japanese side. Tori Kawana had to hit the rings and slid right through. A 3-0 lead for Russia, all via the steal and on misses by the Japanese side.
You know, she called the in-turn draw, went down towards the hack, was talked into playing the out-turn instead. And she's actually playing 13% worse on the out-turn for draws so far this week, with an equal number of draws both on the in and out. Just wonder if it's that very aggressive, unconventional release she has on the out-turn. Maybe it takes away maybe a slight feel. A lot of stuff happening there.
There's a lot of moving parts, and talk about it in other sports, a golf swing or even a baseball swing, where the more moving parts you have, the harder it is to duplicate every single time. She's very consistent in it, but it's one more thing she has to deal with in delivering that stone.
Could have also been that she felt quite comfortable throwing the in-turn, that path. The sweeper's feeling more comfortable sweeping the other path. And it's just quicker than she was expecting. Maybe that wasn't communicated to well enough back to the skip. There's many factors when a shot's missed. It could be one of many things.
Not always on the person throwing it as well. It can be on the sweepers as well. It can be on the person holding the broom, not calling the right line. The team error. There are team shots that her team makes, and there's mistakes by a team. So it's not always on the person that's delivering the stone.
Nope.
And that might be a learning experience, something that I'm sure all the coaches for the Japanese side will take a note of. Different spots in the ice, talking about the weight on the arena ice surface, so it's a little different than playing in a curling club. You're going to get different speeds and different paths. just with airflow and everything else that's going on. So we see 81% Arisa Kotani. And those are numbers for the tournament altogether as they play their 6th game.
Struggling a bit with that spot just 2 ends ago. Came down the very same turn, over curl, left the guard. This is a much better result though with the more weight. Just ticking the guard in. Leaves the shooter on the rings for Russia to make a play on. At least brings the play into the house. And I'll try and use that corner guard, although it's a bit long. Japan's got to feel they want to score, or at least be the next team to score. Can't let Russia run away with this one.
Well, Arsenkina peels that one out, or does open up the path to draw down. Played more weight. I thought they'd try and keep a shooter there.
Well, the question is, where do you want to put it? Come all the way down to the tee line. There's a lot of room. So you want to probably try and put this pretty top house, but maybe try and get second shot. Even if you just throw a tight guard here, it's also usable. There's a good chance you'll see Russia just peel the top one. This is getting ever so tight to that corner. It's going to be all over it. Leaves essentially a center guard.
Just not sharp. It's been Russia dictating the way this game has been played through the first 3 ends. Well, Arsenkina's been very sharp throughout the early going of this championship, 89%.
Top of the standings with Kim Son-young and Agnes Knockenhauer, Jill Officer. They're all up there, shooting in around 90%.
Well, fitting that all those teams right near the top of the standings. And Japan needs a big one now. Ishigaki. Just miss. Curling up a little bit more. They get the one off the forefoot. Jump over. Czech Republic, Sweden. Sweden lying 3. Sanders out-turn draw the call here.
And it seems to be just navigate through the port of those 2 guards up front.
I should say the counterclockwise, because the lefty, Anna Kubeshkova.
So her in turn.
Her in turn.
Sweeping this big to get it past the guard first of all. And if they can get it past the first guard, you need to get past the stone in the top 8 too. Just going to chisel off it. That's strange that that guard comes into play.
Thought more of that one in the top of the 8 foot might be the one that'd be an issue. It is a steal of 3 for Sweden. Go up 5-0 over the Czech Republic. And that's a long way back against any team, let alone the Olympic champions who are playing top of any team throughout this week.
Well, mentioned Knockenhauer playing 90%, the third. Sarah McMahon playing 92. They're going to be peeling that game home, you'd think.
We saw that they got up on a lead against Team USA and let that one slide a little bit in the game yesterday, but Sweden ended up holding on to win. So we see, look at this one. More impressive is the little slip, the fall, not disturb the stones. Arisa Kotani.
Technical timeout here.
Yeah, she fell down. She touched that one. I'm just not sure. Yeah, she did.
No, I think she did.
Okay, sorry.
I saw her.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So Moiseva just wanted to make sure if that stone was burnt or not, and didn't want to spend her own time, her own clock, discussing it. So
Called the technical timeout. And we'll get a look here. You watch on the right. Kotani falls close to touching it, but it would have just been placed where they thought it went. It was after the stone had made contact. It wasn't the running stone.
no, I wasn't sure if that was touched or not. Couldn't quite see.
It was close. It looked like her left foot might have been close, but not. I don't think it would have done a whole lot. That's the spirit of curling, and he's saying, I don't think I touched it. And Moiseva wasn't sure if she did or not, as we see make the hit, try and roll it under. Fortunova rolls that one over to lie 3. Again, another end. Japan chasing. Not able to play any offensive shots.
Yeah, they're just going to have to start leaving tougher shots for Russia to play. Haven't really been able to leave the shooter in the toughest spots yet. A lot of half shots. Looking for the freeze here. If you just freeze it, lie second, you might see Russia throw a long guard. We've seen Moiseva quite light to just throw guards. It's almost like you want to bump this up and maybe get shot stone. We'll see now what Russia does. I'm going to deal with it, come in. In fact, try and come after the red and play the freeze.
Потому что я последний вот так делаю, у меня центральный.
Долго все равно.
Да.
Но в принципе сейчас можно.
Это лучше, чем...
Ну да.
Will be the
Ну,
guard
в
by
общем, типа того же
playing
самого,
the
что мы
draw.
тогда с вами
Да,
везли.
0-0-5.
Да.
Когда вот 8 футов пришел
Just
единица,
you have to be aware of
нолик,
what they line up.
нолик мы ждали.
Хорошо. В принципе, такой высокий тоже неплохо. Мы встали так же, как стояли во второй раз, то есть довольно узко.
0-5-1.
Might be a little cautious to throwing guards. That's what cost them yesterday in that last end versus China. Kept guarding everything when there were 3 up,
Добавленный.
and somehow lost the 4.
Нет, контакт нет.
Game that they tell you they should not have lost. Keeping it 4. China, give them credit. They made shots in the 10th end to score 4.
You know, that's a game you'll never forget, and you'll learn from that. So,
Well, and they're lining it up. They're hoping to get to the other side of that stone. Now a hit, you can get rid of both those yellows.
yeah, finally a break for Japan. Wonder if you might even make the hit and roll in underneath cover. Try and leave a stagger. Sit more or less 2 buried.
You don't get many of these opportunities, especially when you're chasing. The placement of that one had to be perfect.
黒線をね、半分越えたいんだよね。
ゴンさん、黄色が外に出ていくやつを
Get to see the out turn here. Looks like an in.
Yeah, so then the spin to the other way and then set it back.
He's throwing them percentage-wise. More better on the upweight shots. Close to that guard.
Oh, just touched the guard. And guard didn't need to be a factor at that point. Thought she'd throw a bit more weight to try and clear them. Still, Russia lying 1.
ああ、曲がったね。何秒だった？10。あ、ちょっと中だった。
That was a golden opportunity to maybe even set up for a 3.
Well, and just that little touch of the guard redirects it. She may not have a shot to try and score. Slides right by everything. Yeah, she knows she had that opportunity, and that would have been real good.
Well, is there maybe a double off of the Yellowstone on the far left? Should probably see enough of that to hit that run across for 2.
It's probably about all she'll have. So there's guard's put in a good spot. There's not going to be a draw path to get to the button.
Just going to come top 12 here. Just want to take away that yellow, red, yellow combo. That's for 1 for Japan. You know, if they were a little more cheeky, they could have come around everything there. Just caught a piece of the button, sit 2. It'd be really hard for Japan to score. And even if you miss it, you know, Japan's only scoring the 1 anyway, probably. If you're anywhere close in the forfeit.
W talked about it on the side. The one that looks like it's behind the corner is available. It's for 2. You take a look on the left-hand side, playing that wide yellow, or you play this yellow straight back. Here's a chance to get your 1.
Down 3, be tempting to go for your 2. This is not an automatic for the 1 either.
Well, again, big scrub. Onodera. Spill it out, and they will spill it far enough to get their 1. Took some work, but Japan gets their score, gets on the board, and a single makes it 3-1. Russia still with the advantage. Well, spills that one out to make sure.
超えちゃうと曲がらないし、登ると
微妙だね。
超えちゃう。
難しいね。まずウェイト大事にして投げるか。
ウェイトよりセンターラインをちゃんと越えれるかとか、その外のタイミング、外の方が良かったらちょっと越えさせないと絶対曲がってきちゃう。けど逆もあるから。ね、私さ、カモあるじゃない？あれちょっと緩かったからライン。あれさちゃんのが外中だったから。Да.
Well, all 4 sheets in play. A look overhead here. North Bay Memorial Gardens. The Ford World Women's Curling Championship has taken over the ice surface here from the North Bay Battalion, the junior hockey team that calls this facility their home. So the first time Japan will play without the hammer. Russia will see that centerline guard go up against them, and they'll draw around it.
Начало супер, 8 вообще отлично.
Надо вес очень. Пока назад 6, похож.
Линии будет. Давайте, девчонки, втащить в дом, давай. Давайте, девчонки, еще. Давай, 16-0. Сложно, но можно. Давай, разведем потом. Хорошо, молодцы, спасибо.
Well, they do Japan a favor. They end up putting another centerline guard tight to the rings. Larissa Kotani can wrap one around. They're in a good position, try and get a steal. They might have been thinking about putting 2 guards out in front anyways, in the end, just to try and see if they can put the pressure on Russia. So they come around and now follow it up.
Очень дай. Только вес. Надо, девчонки, давай. Давай, супер идет. Давай, отлично идет. Давай его подвали чуть-чуть. Давай сюда его.
And that one comes up a little bit short. Back button, shot stone. While trying to get around, just that little touch slides into the top of the 12-foot. Well, looking at peeling, ends up running it straight back. Still leaves Japan with that one back button in a good position. Can guard it up, protect the one they have, back button. Take a couple of shots now to get at that one on the button. Sandra, it's kind of interesting how things swing back and forth. All of a sudden now you give up the hammer and momentum goes in your favor by just getting that single point.
We'll see that so many times. If things aren't working out with a hammer, well, especially when a team's like down big in the game, they'll just take their one on purpose to just try and change it up, but then you see them start to make their way back in the game. Not quite the same here, just down to 3, and they were forced to take their one, but yeah, it's something we see time and time again.
But a little mistake there as it comes down to the side. Look over at USA, Switzerland, 4th end, and looks like US lying one back 4-foot, like a draw tap. Can draw for 1, maybe a little bump of that one to get 2. If you're Binya Felcher. Well, 2014-2016 world champion Felcher trying to get by and will chip off that one. Will it spin in to get their 1? It doesn't, and it's going to be a steal of 1 and a 4-1 lead. Both those teams sitting at 3 losses with a 2-3 record. USA with the edge in that game so far. Look over at Czech Republic and Sweden after a steal of 3 in that fourth end. Here now, Anna Kubeshkova hit this one on the nose and a chance to get 2 back, make it a 3-point game. And nicely done. Czech Republic on the board with a deuce. So they will trail 5-2 after 5 ends over there. But we'll give the hammer back to Sweden. All the double clear on that opens the front up and may change Japan's strategy now here in this 5th end of play. So just a single guard protecting that one now. Moiseva continued to try and open it up, give themselves a chance to, even you make this peel off that back one, you could get a blank in the end.
Can really throw some big weight, Porchanova.
Right through the port, splits those 2. But a much better end for Japan, able to just simplify it. They've got some mistakes early by Russia that allowed them to set up the end. Put a couple of good guards, maybe a force, possibly even a steal.
Use that a bit long. Doesn't curl enough either, so the shot's still now exposed for Moiseva.
Well, it's open and there's lots of room by. You could get across the face of this one.
Наверное, даже побольше я бы встала. Мне нравится вот так на 5. Да? Okay. Ну, эта сторона держится, эта должна подваливать. 6 может быть, да?
Да, это будет лайтборд, колодка.
Хорошо. 6 нравится.
Well, first of Skipstone's Russian skip.
Sweep! Sweep! О, давай же! Да-да-да! Да-да-да! Галеров! О, ну мы стоим, идем.
Gets down to that one with ease, sits in the open side of the button.
Просто уже не roll и не stay. No.
I was hoping maybe a little bit more roll away so that it opens up the forefoot.
Я подумала, но он как-то даже до стей не давали роул, и надо было сразу валить.
そうだからそうだね詰めてやる
Good chance here with the in-turn this time, so you're not seeing the action on the release for Tori Kawana. Need the hit. Got to get rid of that stone, but won't really play quiet. Waited that and has it over curl, meaning an opportunity at 2 out of nowhere.
Maybe needed that action from the out turn. Either a little soft on release or softer weight or a combination. Two missed shots, really.
Well, now it's Russia trying to take advantage. Opportunity to get a 5-1 lead into the break. A game that you are controlling. Didn't control this end, but you have an opportunity to get a deuce out of it.
Yeah, always love trailing in an end and then scoring a skips deuce.
Demoralizing to the other team. Here, gotta hold it for Moiseva. Make the hit, avoid the jam, roll it in. Nicely done to get your 2. Just like that, the skips deuce and a 5-1 lead heading to the 5th end break.
Но мне казалось прям всю дорожку, что классно идет, но он реально прям держится, офигеть, как вы его держите, и он прям вот видно, что он прям держится. Ой, прости, пожалуйста. Ну, ручки, да.
Да? Есть немножко ручки, да?
Ручки есть.
Бам.
Well, first half of this one, the second end. It's a tough shot to try and get your 1 here for Tori Kawana. Got to go raise the yellow onto your own, onto shot stone, but just outside, unable to make that, and it is a early steal for Russia. Skip to the 3rd and see those 2 in the back of the 12-foot belonging to the Russian side. Kawana needs the house. Full 12-foot. But sweepers right off. And then Russian side sweeping it right through the rings and out. So a steal of 2. 4th end and an opportunity to score. Gotta go yellow, yellow, red, yellow. Get rid of that lineup of stones. Bring your red into play. And just like that, able to get their single point, but trail 5-1 after 5. Well, USA, Switzerland, 5th end. It is a shot stone for the U.S. Close of who's second. Dina Felcher. Looks like there's a double if it is the U.S. 1-2. Well, with this, looks like they are second shot. Will nose that one, and it is 2 for Switzerland. So they cut into the lead. They trail 4-3 now.
We're going to make an adjustment of 25
So on sheet A, it is Sweden leading the Czech Republic 5-2 as they play in sixth. You saw the update there. USA on top of Switzerland gets the hammer back into the second half of their game. 5-1 Russia leading Japan on our feature game. And Germany leads Italy 3-2 in the sixth end of that game. Well, the stats through 5 ends, Russia, the stats tell it all. 5-1 the lead, and the advantage. Overall percentage, 87-73. 90-72 in draws. 83-74. And those 3 stolen points. 1 in the second, 2 in the third. And then they get a skip's deuce on 2 misses. Well, a good look at that World Championship trophy teams will be playing for. Both these teams sitting at 3-2. The playoffs started right now. They would be in one of those quarterfinal games in the 13-team round-robin field. But Sandra, as you know, lots of games to play. Each team play 12. This is game number 6 for each of them.
How we thought about it when we played championships was that we started at the bottom, and then we'd go up 1 spot for each win. So for this event, we'd start at 13, win a game, we're up to 12,
keep plugging away,
and so on. That was our mental approach to it.
Breaking down a lot what can be a long event into, I know teams break it into segments. They look at 3-game segments or even 4-game segments. Some look at it each day, where you're normally playing 2 games a day. This is an odd one now because of the way the schedule lines up. Obviously, not everyone's going to play 2 games every day. Russia, their next game will be against the Czech Republic tomorrow afternoon. So their only game, 1 game today, evening off, morning off, and then they play afternoon, evening tomorrow.
Sometimes it's tough to find things to do. You have a lot of time on your hands, but there's not a lot of time left over after the curling at this event with so many teams in it. So it's probably more about catching up on sleep and trying to relax and unwind.
Any treatments that you need for any ailing injuries as well, because they've played a lot of games, so the break's not a bad thing for them. This team playing over in Korea at the Olympics, now here in North Bay playing the World Championship. It's all about how you manage yourself and manage your body, and as well as your brain. And mentally, it can be draining for a player as well. A lot of work thinking the strategy through each end, each shot. As we see Japan trying to put the 2 guards out in front.
Yeah, I've known players who would meditate or do mental training before games, between games, after games. And of course, teams will bring a physio as well and get some physical work done as well.
Lower numbers for Galina Arsenkina. She's going to start getting a lot of peels now at this point.
A bit of a half shot there, too.
Yeah, peels that and gets her own off the top of the 8-foot. If it would have got the one in the back, it would have been better. That one, you don't necessarily like where it's at.
Oh, now Japan won't have to mind that stone in the top 8. They can just come straight around one of these guards at some point. Still throwing another guard, hoping for a mistake from Russia, but eventually they're just going to have to come around the corner.
Ishigaki at 83% on the game. Well, trying to put the guards. They have seen Russia give up a couple big ends, so they know there is the potential for that. They would love to get one back in this 4-point game. At least a deuce is a must now for Japan. Well, Arsenkino with the big extension on that one. Trying to clip the other one. And look at that, makes the double peel.
I think that first mistake is forgotten about.
Yeah, long since forgot about that one. Look at this. Right across, makes that double peel. Does stick in the house, but I guess if you have to have a little bit of an error with that one, that's an okay to miss it.
Yeah, just a little bit unlucky actually. It leaves a bit of a pocket for Japan to maybe use later on in the end. Play a good freeze on the shot stone here. It might be impossible to remove, but for now they'll throw the corner again. Don't want to make that move too early, leave Russia enough time and enough chances to tidy up. So throwing the corner, expecting them to peel it, and then eventually the freeze will be most likely attempted in the back there.
Well, Porchanova, 83%, picking up her game from her overall numbers. And these peels will help their percentages throughout as well.
Okay.
Kaho Onodera, again, see the numbers better than their overall percentage. 78 for the game, 75 for the tournament. Well, that in between either the guard or drawing to the back ones. I think it was the guard that just slid deep.
Doesn't make much difference to Russia though. They're still just going to want to peel this one out.
So freeze the back one. How do you want this on the nose, or do you want it a little stagger to the other stone?
A little stagger to the other stone would be pretty good. Probably 3/4 or half checked. That way, if Russia makes a hit on it, it'll just spring over and catch the second yellow. Find the perfect spot here might be physically impossible to remove. With only 2 stones left for Moiseva as well. Could be a little tough. This is looking pretty good for line. Just need to settle down now. Actually over curling. That's a big mistake from the whole team really. Koana at the head. You need to be paying more attention there. It was much better to sweep that and bounce it a little bit on the right side of the angle.
Slide over Czech Republic, Sweden. Look in, and Hasselborg forced to take her one. What? Just wants to make sure she scores with the hammer now at this point. Is to take a 4-point lead with 4 remaining, but facing 3.
Would be a pretty good swing here. Go 6-2 or 5-5.
Well, good on Czech Republic. Kulishkova and her team really just staying with it, playing patient. They get the force. Now you can try and get your deuce. You cut the lead in half. Long way back, but you keep picking away at it. Moiseva blasts that one out, and look at everything fly. She's had a solid game today, and it's good bounce back there. Not showing any ill effects from that collapse last night.
We'll be quite happy to just spill everything here, so Japan has nothing to freeze to.
Yeah, right now Japan has to make their move. It's all up to them, and don't think they're going to take a single point, knowing that they need to score multiple points in order to come back, but every end blanked is an end wasted. But that, you see the reason 58% for Kuwana, including 2 misses in that last end, and they finally had something going in their favor. Moiseva just remove that one. Doesn't even want to leave anything to freeze to. Or even was looking to stick there. Pardon me, thinking it was her first, but it's her second. So she rolls out. Means decision for Japan whether to take one, try your hand at stealing again, or throw this one through and blank. I think right now you want to blank it.
Yeah, but we mentioned that earlier in the game that if it's not working out with the hammer, we could just take the one and try and steal, but still a bit early to do that. I think at least give it one more try here. So we will just throw this one through for the blank.
So that'll go through. It'll be a blank, and it'll remain a 5-1 Russian advantage in this game. Trying to improve their record, stay in the playoff hunt. Both teams at 3-2, and it's a 5-1 Russia lead.
Как-то не так. Встаньте, если что, сядьте обратно. Ну, если что, у нас есть время. То есть лучше сделать бросок, чем нам потом это время никто как бы не на очки не добавит. Так что да.
Также, может быть, также 2 в дом?
Да, да, мне нравится.
Well, a good look from the video board above. All 4 sheets. A 5-1 Russian advantage. Japan will retain the hammer. They decided to blank that 6th end. See if they can try and put together 8 shots. Japan losing earlier today to China. Actually, both these teams losing to China in their previous game. Well, that isn't the greatest guard, but it's out of the rings, I believe.
Is it?
Well, here's the question.
We'll have a measure, I think.
How do you measure? There's one sitting right on the pin.
Well, that's a good question. I don't think I've seen that before, Luke.
This?
I guess you would just have to remove that stone and replace it on the one on the button.
They just have the official look and make the decision.
Okay.
Normally, if that's the case, Sandra, they can throw the 6-foot stick to see if it's in the rings or not, but you need the pin.
Exactly. I'm sure they would just put their feet next to it, pull the stone out, and just replace the yellow again.
It's early enough in an end where you can do that, but you don't see that very often.
I actually had a guy back home, he called for a measure. You only call for the measure if you want to hit the stone, obviously. They measured, the stone was in, he elected to throw a guard anyway.
I'm sure the official enjoyed seeing that one. Well, they decide to bring another one in, goes a little deeper, so now important for Japan to get this guard in position, as they got a couple of stones in the house that they can utilize.
They're deep. It's extremely important for that to stop in time. If that slipped an inch more into the rings, the end is almost over for Japan in terms of offense. It is more or less the worst thing you could do as a lead. Throw the corner guards into the house when needing points.
So now it comes to rest. Any stone can be removed. Japan at least have that one stone real tight to try and draw behind. And those 2 stones in the rings. Arsen Kina will get the top peel. So we're playing the 7th end of session 10. It's Japan, Russia. Both teams 3-2. They're tied for 4th in the standings right now. Game back of Korea, who sit in 3rd at 4-1. Canada and Sweden still unbeaten. Sweden in action right now against Czech Republic. Canada will be back in action tonight against Scotland. Sweden and Canada on a collision course for a game tomorrow night between those two. So 2 corners. A little surprised peeling this one first. Not that either are in a great position, but peeling this, I think the other one's a stone you can actually draw behind and utilize a little more.
Maybe the thought is that's a stone that Japan can split in later on.
It's definitely a dangerous stone where it was, but peeling it out. Now up to Japan. Do you play a little tap? Do you try and use the corner guard now?
probably come around here, then the peel from Russia, and then you can make a tap on the yellows. Make a tap on the yellows now. Russia might just peel that corner, and if your first little tap isn't that good, that's pretty hard to generate too with no guards. This way you get a stone out in the wing. Needs to finish.
Well, they might get a little bit of it behind cover, but still accessible for the Russian side.
The weight Portunova throws here, she might end up shuffling her own yellows. Or leave a third yellow, could be beneficial for Japan.
Actually worked out pretty good.
Yeah, just line them up. It's pretty good for Russia actually. Tough to do much with that.
Yeah, before a little tap could have created a pocket there. Lines one in front of each other. Were they hoping to get the nose on that one, keep their shooter in front?
Yeah, just wanted to sit on top of something. It's just duck in open water where it sits there. It'll be very easy for Russia to remove.
Yeah, and the degree of difficulty of these Russian shots have gone down since they got up there. A lot more room for error.
Japan just hasn't been able to make it difficult for Russia at all. Bringing the weight down this time. So looking to keep the shooter. Maybe try and roll in front of those two other yellows. Look at that.
Very nice.
Just felt like there was a easy chance to make a pocket with the back two yellows. So made the roll to take that away. I think still a chance to make a little pocket here. Hit that yellow on the nose with just maybe backline weight or so. But they're playing a bit more, I think.
Yeah, I think playing hit weight at this. Tough to generate offense when you're playing hits.
Yeah, time's kind of running out too. You know, that same hit with less weight and keep those two yellows, you'd had a perfect wall of three yellows in a row behind the tee line. That just makes it really easy for Russia to peel it out.
Или может сделаем вот так на 0. И попробуем оставить. Давай поувереннее. 8. Да.
Well, it's discussion on our feature game. We'll slide over to another 4-point game. Sweden leading the Czech Republic, and Czech Republic trying to get their deuce back and has an opportunity for it right now. Anna Kubashkova make the nose hit, and it's 2 for the Czech Republic. And there they go. So 2 for Czech Republic. They're now 6-4, playing the 8th end. Czech Republic with the same record as these two teams in our feature game. As we saw Moiseva peel that one out. All those teams at 3-2. Game back of Korea, who has this afternoon off.
だったやつあれぐらいだったですね、横が。
フリーだね。
合わせれるか最後。
Calling the freeze on the shot stone here. Gonna have to be pretty perfect to force an error from Moiseva. Hopefully, if they get it frozen enough, you might see Russia just try and blast it out. And then Japan has the option to blank again.
We'll get a look. The hog time. We've been seeing about 14 and a half to 15 for T-line weight. That should be pretty darn close to the perfect freeze weight.
Wow.
That is perfect.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe that shot. Just dead on the nose. So I don't think Russia is going to try and peel this out. They're just going to try and hit this on the nose.
Guess it's not perfect. There's a little bit of an opening between them, but not enough to do anything with.
I'd go ahead and say it's probably perfect because it's so good that you're forcing Moiseva to make the nose hit, but there's enough room to maybe get that little slide.
There you go. I see what you're
So
saying.
if she ever gets it slightly off the nose, that red might slide away a little bit. The shooter might slide away. It might be an open hit for two. So you don't want to make it perfect. Just enough to...
It was the perfect shot, perfect result of that shot.
So if Moiseva can just hit this right on the nose, she'll sit frozen. If it's just a fraction low or high, it might slide away. Create a chance for two.
Final stone for the Russian skip out of St. Petersburg.
Yeah. Well,
I think it rolled off a little bit. I think it's shot stone for Japan.
I think so too.
Draw to the button. A draw to the button to get a second point, but you have a chance now. Yeah, as we get a good look there, closer in. It definitely looks like it is red that is shot stone.
Chance at a skip's deuce here after that beautiful freeze. This would be her favorite turn on the draw as well. Exact same turn. She played a cool draw to the button for one, playing USA. That was the kind of shot where she didn't look nervous at all. I haven't really seen them be nervous in any game.
Even this one, I just don't think they played very well in the first five. And I don't think it had to do with nerves. Sometimes you just don't play that well. And here, though, a chance to get two, make it a 5-3 game. All up to Onodera, Ishigaki, right to the button, and look at that. It's good for two. Wow, two great shots. Tori Kowana skips deuce to cut the lead in half and make it 5-3 after 7. Welcome back to our live coverage of the Ford World Women's Curling Championship. Luke Coley signed the roll vlog here this afternoon. Japan versus Russia, our feature game. And not much other than perfection by Tori Kawana in that last end to set up two. Perfect freeze, perfect draw to the button. They'll try and put together another end here now without the hammer. So they try and battle their way back. We saw Italy battle back against Korea earlier today. They had scored 4 straight stolen ends to force an extra end. Weren't able to finish off the comeback, coming back from 7-1. This one much easier with a 5-1 deficit. As we see the attempt at the tick goes straight by.
Perhaps just threw a bit too much weight when they're so high. Quite used to throwing just through weight for the tick shots, but when they're so high, you're really looking to just throw T-line back 4. You'll barely get any curl because they're so high too, so don't really need much ice for them.
Yeah, there's about 10 less feet that it's going to curl down the ice.
That's why it's a good thing to place the long guard first. It's a lot harder to tick. It's a lot easier to place the tight one first and the long one though, but if you throw the long one first, you're more likely to get a mistake. And if you could place the second one perfectly behind, like they do now,
that's a nice pair.
It's pretty perfect. Both on the center line, lots of distance between them.
Comparison of the leads. Guzieva 88 to 82% for Kotani.
Нет, тогда не надо. Выше. Выше, 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 выше. Ты так не надо. 4. 4 есть. Умничка. Молодец. Умница. Айте 14.3 だった。14半くらいだね。
Well, a nice come around. You see that as the defense. When you miss the first tick shot, you come around.
See that quite often. If you don't make that first tick, the team will come around. The more and more I see it, the more I kind of like the call, because very often, even if you make that second tick and they come around, they get a good shot stone, they'll just be guarding that for the entire end and you'll be chasing. So if you trust your lead to put that top 4, just nimble the forefoot, that makes it a lot tougher for the team without hammer to get in there eventually.
Even if that draw was made by Japan, you're peeling line 1 in a good position. Now you're peeling knowing there's 2 other guards, but it's your stone that's in the house.
And it just makes it a lot tougher for Japan to make a shot too. They're just going to have to try and tap that yellow back, and if they miss one shot here, the end is a lot easier for Russia. If you try and tick and maybe even miss the tick again, well, Japan can just play a straight draw around and you're in trouble.
Look at the second numbers here in this game. Ishigaki great with the hits, lower on the draws, but an overall advantage over Arsenkina.
Он прям 100% идет в наш. Просто потом она это все-таки сделает.
Well, another guard checks those ones on the center line.
Вот так, да, и этот вот так чуть больше. Да. Он, конечно, пойдет прям вниз и останется и этот, и этот. А если снимать вот так прямо, чтобы точно вот эти два уходили, наш остается. Давай просто пока один опять.
Прям совсем
Не
один.
уверена, что это прям хорошая идея.
Мне кажется,
Что мы
надо
попадаем
трогать.
вот так. Этот остается, и этот, наверное... Ну хотя давай.
Мне кажется,
Окей.
надо сейчас, потом будет поздно.
А?
Надо сейчас, потом будет поздно.
I think they're just worried that trying to slash just to get more than the one red, they might redirect that red stone closest to the rings onto their yellow. It shouldn't fully jam, but it might just remove it.
Whoa. Whoa.
See how this works out.
Whoa.
If you can get contact.
Хорошо было.
Not quite.
We won't find out at that point.
Вот он бы, кстати, так
Peels the
забил.
high one off. It's still Russia line one, top of the forefoot. Japan will have to make a play at some point here.
Окей.
全然ライトの方が寄るならいいよ。
こっちか。10前半、14半。7で。
And they're trying to go around it to the back of the forefoot.
I think she just called a freeze on the yellow, but not sure. Probably both options are okay.
ちょっと曲がりそうだな。オッケー。
フリーフリー。
7。7、6、7って取ってるね。
First, just needing to get past the guards, really.
Trying to just give themselves a chance, and it won't. Can't get by. Chips rolls off into the rings.
Можно попробовать вот так пока сделать.
Мне кажется, надо, да, вот так делать.
Нравится подумать?
Да, давай подумаем.
And Russia deciding there whether to keep those or come off the side one. Peel
С этой стороны снимать, то он идет в него.
the fronts. They're going to call a timeout.
Драк еще есть.
Сейчас он прям стеем останется, если драку
Да.
попадать.
Драк еще остался.
Там не совсем драк, но он все равно.
Так, всё-таки.
Да, вот так мне в принципе нравится. Даже если мы делаем вот так, у нас остается как бы атака хоть какая-то.
Да, пусть она делает, и если она даже мы вот так сделаем, до этого пока не добирается. Единственное, ей нужны очки, если мы вот так пробиваем, она может завозить, а потом пробивать.
Ну, мы пока вскроем или через наш пробьем.
Драг-эффекта уже нет.
Вы думаете,
Нету, но он все равно надо
есть.
совсем попадать. То есть мы можем чуть-чуть больше попасть, и он точно вниз в наш пойдет. Или не париться.
Мы все вместе коллективно вам предлагаем, да.
Нам нравится, если честно.
Если стейп.
Даже
Можно
стей.
стеем хорошо.
Да,
Стеем хорошо.
хотя бы на
Небольшой
атаку
ролл
потом.
сюда. Хорошо, да.
Хорошо.
Но драг-эффекта там нет уже. Там нужно уже точно попадать, чтобы...
вроде как размер
вообще-
щетки вроде еще остается. Если чуть больше, а
Ну
так
вообще
вот раз
можно,
щетки.
вообще можно.
Прям
Вот это
мало,
как мы
если
вчера с
побольше.
вами четко уже.
Ну это уже 15 сантиметров, это уже драг-эффекта не будет. Он уже не так сработает. Давайте
Ну
ролл.
давайте вот это,
Да.
да. Хорошо. Двоечка.
2?
2.
Ну он тут
По 2.
Were they looking to, just saw it, they're looking close at those two guards out in front, whether they would drag or not, possibly catch the one in the house.
I think that was the discussion. Seemed like they were talking mostly about the hit and stay.
0 или
So
2?
hitting this red and
0 или 2?
try and stick the shooter.
2.
Maybe just try and roll it a foot in,
Да, всё равно
maybe to
не
take away
получается.
that path for Japan.
Делать.
Also maybe leave a stone they can use.
So we see a comparison of the thirds, 88% Nova. One of there at 84% on the game.
Легко. Свип. О,
Нет,
Ой, нет.
Галя, вали.
Ай, стой.
Well, doesn't stick around. It'll hit,
Нет,
roll
хорошо, надо
away,
прям мало
and
вставать,
out of the
вообще не
rings.
сваливают камни.
So an opportunity to get another one. Still, get one in there for Japan. They've taken a couple of cracks at it, haven't been able to get there.
Problem for Japan is if they get maybe half frozen here, is there then a chance to just play the triple on the reds? The way those are angled in.
Depends how much they will drag or act like one with those two out in front.
Yeah, it really depends on the stones a lot. I know the stones in my home club have really thick, battered in striking bands. The drag effect is quite severe. These stones will be a little newer, a little fresher, thinner striking bands. Might not drag as much as in your home club. And of course, the more distance between them, less drag, but that's a pretty good freeze.
Very
Gets
nice.
very close to the face of that yellow. I still think there's a good chance we might get the double here. Actually, with that now over curling, Russia would probably not hope for not too much of a drag.
Czech Republic and Sweden again with that stone on the side. An opportunity to get two back for Sweden.
Хорош, молодец. Много-то, куда еще?
Has the hit and the stick with that stone on the side. Well, the hit, will it stick around? And it'll roll over to the side. Spin back for good measure to make sure it's in. And a 2 for Sweden and an 8-4 lead after 8. Well, Tori Koana and Japan now lying shot stone 1 and 2 after the peel of those guards, but nothing out in front. Which one do you try and guard?
Probably the shot stone. I think they're pretty flat. It'd be hard to slash them from the outside.
It's probably the guard you want to throw if you have a rock that's double the width. Try and guard it all if you can, but we'll try and put this out in front.
Definitely want to make it to the center line here. Not sure if that's the right side of the tolerance. Would have been better to over curl a bit there. Kind of leaves that pocket for Russia to potentially play the double.
We see advantage for Moiseva over Koana. I think you can actually make the double.
Double's definitely on. The question is, where are you able to keep your shooter? When you play into a pocket like this, the shooter would kind of roll around the pocket, spin, get a lot of action. You might see it just roll out the side door. So that's the only good thing for Japan, is that they left a pretty good guard. They can come around if Moiseva's not able to keep the shooter on the center line.
Well, it all depends how much they hit of that first one.
Want to catch it really thin. It's pretty good to see that roll, but
rolls out to the side. And as we play the 8th end, Japan down 2. Do you have to go all out? Do you need to play the straight draw? It's the best way to try and steal. But the hit and roll is an option. Yeah, even a hair thinner, it probably almost sticks in behind that guard.
the first call was a hit and roll, but now it is the draw.
It's kind of thinking it's all or nothing. It is a 2-point game. You're without the hammer, but giving up a 2, you're down 4 with 2 to play. If play the hit and roll and it doesn't work, they get a blank. You can try and steal to get an extra.
But then you have to steal again, so it's not a bad spot to get the 1.
Don't mind the risk, but you can put it in a better spot with the draw as opposed to the hit and roll.
I have a hard time forcing Russia to make good shots. This is one of the few opportunities. they've had. This one might be over curling. Just need to settle down, might pop out on the other side here. Weight is really perfect, but just overbending.
Just that little bit, and you play with the out turn. Tap it back, make sure you get one, and then push it back, you can get two.
But even that at least forces Moiseva to make a tougher shot, so could get a mistake here. She'll have to think, well, how much do I want to risk to get the two here? Definitely don't want to catch the guard, give up a steal. Can't overthrow it, get the steal, so maybe just play it really soft, safe for the one. There'll be a few thoughts in her head throwing this one. You could hear them say kalotka, which is should be hack weight. One of the very few countries that don't use this. Use hack. Hack is quite international.
The international curling language.
So it's just a controlled weight, just enough to kick the red through the house and sit for two. Definitely want to bring the sweepers in on this one.
The team shot for Moiseva. Well, awfully close here. Now catch a good chunk of it. And look at that. Great management. Punch that one back, and there it is for two. And a big score of two. So now 7-3 Russia extends their lead. Great shot by the Russian side.
Давайте прокинем. Коляなんか曲がってきたらいいかとね。Да, точно. Ура! Считаем камни. Да, все вместе. Well, inside the North Bay Memorial Gardens, Lukoli Sandarovag in our feature game. Japan taking on Russia. Russia in control with 2 ends remaining, a 7-3 lead in a game between 7 and 3 squads, or pardon me, 3 and 2 squads. And Russia throw their first one through the rings. They did have a lead last night against the Chinese and ended up giving up 4 in the 8th end to lose that one. They have a 4-point lead right now. They're not messing around bringing anything in. Got into trouble because they kept stones around. They put some guards up as well. Played into China's strategy and worked for their setup of 4. You don't see that very often.
That'll be interesting to see if they force Japan to 1 now and end up with the exact same scenario. Or
it would be a different, it would be
with the hammer, that's right.
Be the same score. Exact same. It would be a 7-4 game if they forced them.
All right.
But it would be need a steal of 3 to tie it in a steal, not the scoring with the hammer.
In that case, if Japan scores a 2 here, and how they play that 2 up.
Either way, I'd still want to be in that scenario if I'm Russia. Good spot right now, trying to move to 4-2 goes the winner of this game. Trying the tick shot, but it'll go right through.
Maybe one of the toughest shots in curling.
Yeah, the tick of the corner.
Yeah, but just because if you tick it a foot, it's still a corner guard. Whereas you tick a center guard a couple of feet, at least you've moved it off the center line, so you're going to have to tick it pretty perfect. And you have to always play a lot more weight ticking the corners because you don't want to leave the shooter around, so pretty tough.
You don't see a lot of teams play it very often. You'll see it in scenarios like this where you're without the hammer up by 3, 4.
Yeah, where it's either throw it through or, well,
Yeah.
might as well, you know, give it a crack. The only bad thing is it usually takes a toll on your percentages as a lead if you try a couple of them.
Yeah, it's either make it or you get a 0. Galina Arsenkina came in as one of the top ranked seconds percentage-wise. Peels that one. So as we see guards and peels, look over USA, Switzerland. The US 5-4 advantage. Jamie Sinclair trying to snap a 2-game losing streak. Even the record at 3-3. Has a chance here to draw for 2. Switzerland has won 2 in a row after starting 0-3.
Starting to curl. Mine's really nice. 14-2.
No, always nice as a skip when you can just have that open draw into the center of the rings, as you just saw Sinclair make. So 7-4, USA leading Switzerland.
You said something. That's good.
No, get one. And look at that. Touch that one back and make the double peel. Make that look easy. And I'll look down the sheet, and time clock's there. Both 11 minutes of thinking time for these. Not really an issue whatsoever. And if it goes to the 10th end, Russia did use their timeout in that last end. Well, the wind looks like taking out of the sails of this Japanese team with that double peel made by Arsenkina. Now just that one stone in play.
I haven't seen many teams do this on purpose, but I've seen it happen by accident. You ever slip into the top 12? Plays into the mind of the person peeling, thinking, well, because it's in the house, maybe not so bad to nose hit it.
And then you have a guard.
Then you have a guard. So maybe play that into the top 12 on purpose, just to kind of lure your opponent to make the nose hit, maybe. Just psychology. Or is that about what do you think?
It actually makes sense. See teams, oh, it's in the rings. Maybe I will nose it. Have something to draw around.
Even if they don't play for the nose, it's just you might be throwing it just a tad safer as the player in the hack throwing it. At least when players put their stone in the top 12. I've seen the next PLB nosed a few times.
Look over. Chance another deuce for Czech Republic, but that steal of 3 really costly, and the difference in the game because they've been going back and forth, 2s each way, and a Kubashkova. Draw in, get their second point. It makes it 8-6. They'll have to try and steal 2 in the 10th end of that game over on sheet A. Well, Japan moving around these guards, at least. That's one thing that coaches will always say is don't continue to put your guard in the exact same spot. Move them around.
Could have tried the old, or not so old, but the Ryan Fry tactic you saw QA employ in the Olympics. Try and corner freeze that yellow. See if Russia ignores it, and then you play the hit and roll, try and spin both in.
There's an idea.
You know, it's grasping at straws either way.
Yeah. Well, that's what you need to do sometimes. You have to think a little out of the box to try and get something going when you don't have a whole lot to work with.
Съешь. で最後こうやってロールして両方入れるか。
ああ、あるか。
ないよね。
ない
丸見えだもん。
相手が打ってくれる
I
か
could see the thought here now, but they're thinking a little bit different. They're thinking maybe they'll lure Russia to make the hit and spill
It in for you?
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think they'll do that. If they did this one rock earlier and Russia ignored it, then they could have made that themselves, try and spawn 2 in. Playing it, yeah, well, you could still do that in their last one, but I think there's a good chance Russia will throw it somewhere in the rings.
Yeah, you don't have that shot to make the double. You may have to.
半分くらいだな。
Yeah, so I guess ideally you try and freeze it quite thin. So if Russia gets into the forfeit, you might have the in, off, and spin in for 2. That'd be something.
You've seen it from teams thinking to try and find ways, even if they leave just that one stone in play, there's something to try and use, some way to try and use that and generate something.
Quite often I also see teams just take way too much ice when they're needing to draw all the way out to the wing. So one of my pet peeves.
Like that shot right there.
Yeah, it's just always, if you just need to hang on the edge of the 12 foot, you never see a team get there. It's always fully 12. It's very rare.
They never totally trust where to put the broom or commit to it.
This is my tip for you. Take a foot less ice than you think. I've seen that too many times. Even if you run out of rings, then, well, at least you've given it a good try, right?
Leading by 4 in this game. Moiseva. Well hit. Keep this one in the center of the rings. I think either is tough, but do you take 1, try and steal 3, or do you try and score 4 with the hammer?
You saw China yesterday score a 4.
So blank is what you're saying.
点取るしかないね。
11で
Both the ice like this looks like they hit to take one. Try and get two center line guards set up, or two guards, and try and go after it that way.
Yeah, take a one. You might even see them throw the corners. The 10th end. We'll see. Need to make this first, though.
Well, hit, stick. There's one. And 7-4. We will head to the 10th end of this one,
ちょっと遅い分かな遅かった
as they will have to try and steal 3 to tie this game up.
中国の映画。ここ。もう一回やる？
Первый отлично, я поменьше чуть-чуть стану, и вообще будет хорошо разведем. Вообще мы чуть-чуть совсем не попали. Мне нравится разводить. Можно, конечно, это, ну, из серии 2 прокинуть вообще, да, но как бы
Потом, если
развести.
честно, легче снимать.
Well, the 10th end begins. North Bay, Ontario, Canada. So plays host to the Ford World Women's Curling Championship. The goalie, Sandra Rovog.
ちょっと曲がりそうなんかねターンが止まって
Japan decides to take one. Will try their hand to try and steal 3. Same score for Russia heading to the 10th end that it was yesterday. They ended up losing that game, giving up 4. The only difference, today they have the hammer.
Yeah, that should help. We see Japan throwing the center guard, not the corner, which you might see sometimes in this scenario. I thought there is, because you have the free guard zone and you start the end, you actually get to keep 2 corner guards. It's not so much about limiting the scoring area, but it's more about just loading up the house with as many stones as possible and then hope for a big mistake in the end. It's pretty tough to get to lie 3 and behind, but sometimes you can throw the center, hope for a tick to get 2 corners with the help from your opponent.
Well, and that one goes just out of the rings. Very nice. Does leave the long guard. Something to use.
Looking to come around the yellow. I'm not sure if it's much point to do that though, because you'll probably see, or Russia would just peel the top yellow if they want to. So might as well just throw this to the center line, really. Because it's still in the free guard zone, so you don't have to find protection for this guard. It's still protected. Either way.
For a couple more stones. Sitting beside that yellow isn't a bad idea, because it makes that peel more difficult.
Just tuck it right around. Freeze the back. That will be the peel on the yellow.
Of course, you can remove your own stones in the 4 rock free guard zone rule.
Yeah, not allowed to do that in mixed doubles curling. If you were watching the Olympics, but here you can. So a very cheeky shot at the World Junior Championships, where they ran the opponent's guard onto their own stone in the house and stuck it. Oh, essentially not removing the guard, but
put it in the rings,
peeling it in. It's pretty good call.
Well, and if it wouldn't have worked, you would have just replaced everything where it was. Here we play 10th end. Mayo Ishigaki trying to get another guard in play. Need to try and get a few misses and trying to steal 3. Well, just over the hog line, they say.
You know, I think I've never seen a measure on a stone at the hog line. Have you?
I don't know if you can do a measure.
Just the umpire
has to
use
go
their eye.
Yeah, there's a great look right from the hog line. It's all by the eye. If it's close, they will probably call an official to make the judgment of it.
My home club would just get one of the square scorecards to try and measure it somehow. Maybe. I guess that's not the official way to do it.
Doesn't matter now. It's removed. It's just those 2 red stones in play. United States, Switzerland going on right next to us. Both teams come in 2 and 3 records. Facing a couple of red American stones. Binya Felcher, 2014-2016 world champion. Looking to hit, stick, cut into that lead, make it 7-5. And they'll do just that, but trail without the hammer, heading to the 10th end of that game.
Well, Japan coming in top 12. See if it lures Arsenkina to make the nose hit. Oh, close.
Something in there that you may be able to draw behind. It's grasping a little bit, but there's at least something now for them to use.
It's kind of what I was getting at earlier in the game. That's when the stone's in the house, you tend to just throw it a little safe. Sometimes catch a little too thick.
Well, it's a good game for Kaho Onodera. Tori Koana struggled in the first half, some big mistakes, leading to 3 stolen points early. That's the difference in the game right now. Another guard goes out. Well, first game is in the books as Sweden continues their unbeaten run. They now move to 6-0 with the win over the Czech Republic. As your stone on the top of the 12-foot is no longer, and they peel that one out with the stone just thrown by Japan. Now 3 stones remaining. Everything's got to go into the rings for the Japanese. There's the final score, or the scoreboard, as Sweden winners 8-6, the final. That one, Anna Hasselborg trying to join fellow Swede Annette Norberg and her team from 2006, winning the Olympic Winter Games and going and winning the World Championship.
4.6 А, давай камень, если что, брат.
Зачем?
Well, Moiseva just saying, let's just peel the front, and may see a little bit of it, but let's just make sure of it. Then they'll have nothing. They got to come into the house. We're going to have 2 open looks to make 1 go away, and we'll win the game.
Sweep! 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 Da-da-da! Whoa.
Well, they'll sweep it, get by, and do it that way. So that'll do it. Calling for the peel. It goes by, and all smiles. They end up winning that one by peeling that stone out of the house,
Не хотела, чтобы я кидала.
as it is a victory for Russia. They move to 4-2, as that drops Japan to 3-3 with the 7-4 final. It's a real big bounce back game for Russia after a tough loss last night. An 0-2 day though for Japan, dropping their game earlier to China. And now Russia. They'll take on Scotland tomorrow morning. Well, Russia will play the Czech Republic tomorrow afternoon. They get the next 2 draws off as well.
А, наверное, я пойду распишусь, вы тогда...
Yeah, I know.
Well, USA, Switzerland.
Spread. I mean, we peeled the
7-5, 10th end.
Another one around.
USA with the hammer and the lead.
There's a short run. No, I
can't see it.
mean, can't really see anything. But even, I mean, if I freeze, they tap it and they're sitting with more stuff back there. Yeah. I don't like the freeze.
I don't think, I think the peel's the call.
I mean, what if we draw 8-foot other side?
I think we only start drawing on her first. I don't think you have any.
I might have a piece.
You could draw in there, or you could actually draw one right in the edge of the 4-foot.
That's what I was thinking, draw open side.
Is it too early for that? Thirds first?
She's got to hit it, or at least she's got to try and freeze to
She's
it.
got to hit at some point, but then you have to hit the stick because she's going to draw under again. Then I'm going to have to play something.
I mean,
If we draw side 4-foot, then she ignores it.
she ignores it. She's probably trying to freeze to it, maybe.
We have a quarter of the tight one. Could play it even with control and roll.
So we peel, right?
Yeah.
They go around again, we peel again. And we're sitting fine.
Yeah, then you try to shoot double, if not, like, you have an open hit to...
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mind playing for the tight one and catching the high ones, okay?
If you can see enough of it.
There's a quarter of it.
Which is enough for a peel.
Do you think that's okay?
Right.
Yeah.
I just wasn't expecting to find you quite right there.
Well, USA uses their timeout. Talk about what to play. This is the first of third stones for Team USA.
Oh yeah, it's thin. I think that's real tough. Yeah, high one's okay though. What?
For Alex Carlson.
Top one. Peel. But on the easy side of peel. Definitely the top one.
Yep! Yep!
Well, these ended up there after tick shots. We look at the numbers. Good numbers for Alex Carlson again. They'll get the top one. They have a 2-point lead. And last rock advantage. They got the wide stones to draw behind.
Warte, sagt Carla! Er muss Carla! Achtung, richtig! Zieh richtig! Zieh! Wo ist er? Wechseln! Sieht gut aus! Nimm ihn nach Frenzy!
Well, they draw and just hang around. Edge of the 12-foot. Well out to the wing.
It's late enough. They have to deal with it, or they draw, or they group their rocks. Did anyone get along on the one going that way? 13 something. So I think 14's pretty good. So 4.
Well, getting numbers, split times.
Line's good. Bit of room. Bit of room. Easy. Yeah, no ad, but not really. Lot of room still. Didn't drop much. Lot of room still. Easy, still running, still running. Vic, if any. Vic, if any, 6 is fine. No. Just 6. No. Vic, 6 is good. 6 is good.
Just want to sit in front of this one.
Easy, easy. Just do it, just do it. Good. Sorry. That was like a 90. Yeah. Okay.
Können wir mal wie damit was wirst? Ja, gut. Du, wenn man ihn übergirlen und einfach klein rennt, ist auch nicht so schlimm. Für innen ist nicht gut, ja. Was meinst du nicht so? So? Gut. Kommt zwar ziemlich fest stehen. Ja. Fünfi.
Well, they got to try and move that one. They want to try and lie. Potential tying. Even the winning points would be nice to force Sinclair to throw against 3.
The question is, lie 3 or try and keep that red stone as backing, lie 2. I think they've taken, just looking at the ice they're taking is probably to remove it. Maybe even try and roll a bit inside. To make sure there's no double back for USA.
Well, taps that one through. Lie 3. Keeps it in play, though.
That works. A little tickle on the yellow actually makes the double a bit harder.
And they got US thinking. Not comfortable thinking because they have those 2 sunk real well.
Yeah, I like that. I think I like it. Yeah, I got a 12, which is not even hack on that line. Okay. Board? Board? Yeah. You got it. Just hair low side. Yep.
You're surprised they're going real aggressive to try and make the roll under?
Do you guys like this or smashing it thin for the double?
I thought they were just
board, just a hair low side, get a little roll in behind the corner.
Yeah, I just figured a nose
so
hit would be okay.
Yeah, I thought playing it hard and just get rid of, if you can get rid of 2, then you're not going to be facing the potential winning points. You'd be facing the tie.
Speed's good here.
If you're Switzerland, you like that they're bringing their weight down because things can happen if you bring their weight, play the quieter hit on this.
Yeah, they can jam in the back or over curl and roll out, leave a chance to draw around the guard, sit 3.
Oh, yep.
Jamie Sinclair's first of skip stones in this 10th end. Well, they do catch that back one. They get away with the jam.
It's pretty good.
Tough to get rid of and make that roll. It's going to mean a wide open 8-foot to get to for the win. Well, the final stone for Dina Felcher. Can't jam on that side. Yellow down by 2. Nothing from the sweepers all the way down. Get away with it. They will jam the back one, and it won't be second shot. Doesn't look like. And that is it. That'll be enough, as USA won't have to throw their last. They will defeat the US and the Swiss, their 4th loss, snapping a 2-game losing streak for the States. They improved to 3-3 with a 7-5 victory.
It's an autograph.
An autograph, I know. I should keep that. I'll take it back and give it to Aaron.
Just 1 sheet left. Seen 2 games finish that we've shown coverage as well. The Sweden win. Now we'll wrap up session 10 over on sheet D. Germany taking on Italy. Germany looking for their first win. They lead this game 7-5. One stone in the top of the house for Italy. Amira Abyss peel the corner, open up that one in the rings. Veronica Zabone. Decision split the rings. Italy has lost 2 in a row. Of course, Germany without a win has lost 5 straight. Well, they want to split the rings. Goes out to the side of the 12-foot. Skip stones now of this 10th end.
Soll ich schnell spielen, dass wir weit rollen können? Ja, wäre schon besser, ja.
Ich will einfach normal.
Normal. Normal.
Yeah. Sander, just try and roll it over closer to that other one?
Yeah, pretty much try to roll to the 4-foot, maybe even a little closer. Hope for an angle, a chance to double them off on their last here at Germany.
Daniela Jentsch.
Linea is good. Well. Well. Nu sauber. Das ist noch klein. Von außen. Ja, Annalena. Ja.
Trying to get the roll, if anything.
Rüber. Gut so.
Right on the nose. It looks like it is second shot, but probably still playing the hit, even if it is.
Yeah, it might be easier.
Beh, allora,
But Gaspari's a drawer.
Play the in turn around.
Se fai il punto, lei magari vediamo cosa fa, magari se prova a far questo non gli viene.
Even just level open, just next to the reds, should be okay. But you can try and come half around. If you just chisel off the red, should be okay. But just most importantly, you need to get in for a second shot here. Don't want to leave it too open either, though. Leave a hit and roll for Germany underneath their own red.
Well, see the numbers, just 4 draws on the game, but great numbers on her draws.
Spazio, tanto spazio. Velocità. E spazio. Meglio non over. Angie? Vai che viene. Dai, nascondila, nascondila. Vai che viene. Sì. Brave.
That's pretty good there.
Well, they played a little cautious, not wanting to end up chipping that red one in. Is it enough that it tempts Germany to go after that one?
Ja. Auf geht's.
Don't think they'll come after the shot stone here, just because there is a chance you could crash on the red, leave a score for 3. So probably just try and hit this yellow, try and roll into the forfeit. Probably want to leave Gaspari a hit to score the 2, just knowing how good she has at draws. And also in this game, you see the percentages quite low on the hits. But pretty sure the double is out of the question. Big weight.
Well, trying to make the hit. Jump it over, roll it in.
Okay.
Does not get in there for shot. She was trying to get that one into the forefoot for shot stone. And now a draw to force an extra end.
And she'll get to play the exact same draw again here.
Uguale.
She's always good with draws. I mean, plays some good draws in this game, and she'll get to play the exact same path as her first one. I'd be very surprised if this is missed. Of course, it is the tie game for the extra. It's the only game still out there. Everyone's watching, but Gaspari does have quite a bit of experience. Down to the sweepers too now.
Linea buona. Serve una mano.
Sweeping
on it
this
right away.
Yeah, coast to coast. Third one now, Costantini joining in.
Got to get full 8 foot. And this one will get there. Great scrub, dragging that one to the 4 foot. So we'll get more free curling here in extra end. Germany and Italy will play an extra. Germany with the hammer.
L'aveva detta lei, me lo senta.
Carta 10? No, un 4,08 preso. Io non l'ho preso. No, ci dice. Gli ho dato un corno di mano.
3 games in the books. The last one out on the ice. We are here on sheet D. Germany, Italy, extra end. Germany will have the hammer. Angela Romay will get us going.
Linea buona. Linea buona, deve carrare. Io. Buona, buona, buona. Tira 3, tira 3. 3. 15,90. Vai tutte e due, tutte e due. Vai, vai, tira su, velocità, velocità, velocità. Dai, tira su, tira su, tira su.
Well, they start with the tight centerline guard. See how Germany wants to play it. They're trying to get their first win. They come in 0-5. Well, decide no tick. They're going to play the straight draw in behind.
That is good. That is good. Not curling. Oh, easy.
Oh, just coming a little heavy here, so sweeper's deciding to take it through the house. It's better to go all the way through than leave some backing for Italy. She'll have one more chance to get in there.
Good. Buona uno. Ok. Due.
Well, good numbers for the Italian lead.
Siamo più oltre la scopa.
Trying to put a second guard out in front, a high one this time.
Brava Angie, brava. L'hai preso a Gog? 18. Will be on 10. Yep. Yeah.
Well, a miss on the first come around. Now they decide they're going to try and play the tick shot on their second, try and move that center line one off. Kind of like playing just the come around now, get one in first.
Yeah, I totally agree. It would make a lot more sense to attempt a tick shot on the first one, and then if that doesn't work out, then you come in. Because if this is missed now, Italy gets in there. Even if it's made, which it is, it's a great tick shot. Italy will still have a chance to get into the top 4. Not just now with the long guard, but they'll throw a tight one. Hope Germany peels the top one. Then they get in there. And if they get a good shot, they can guard it for the rest of the end.
Yeah. How far do you want it? Sorry. Just keep. Yeah, like that.
They did make contact. They didn't think they did much to it, so they just figured where it could have been. It's just in the 12-foot. It is a German stone on the side of the 12-foot. So Pia-Lisa Scholl, Mr. Come Around, makes the tick.
Stefania Constantini just looking for a tight guard. Ideally, if you could just over-curl the long one by maybe 2 inches, just get slightly closer to the center line.
They just get it by that high guard.
That is pretty good. Might have over-curled it a little too much.
Might be a bit of an angle to try and play it, or you peel the tight one now again.
It's perfect if Germany peels the top one for Italy. Then that's a perfect spot, but it might have over-curled just so much that Germany feels they can make the hit on that tight guard. Tolerance, of course, being catching the top one for Anna-Lena Jentsch.
Oh, she'll be right on for that tight center line guard.
So if Constantini can make the same shot, just curl 2 inches less, that'd be perfect.
Buona linea. Linea ok. Un colpetto in fuori. 3, linea buona. tira giù, dai che sta fermando, tira forte, dai che va, dai che va. Dai, lontana, sì.
Just want to try and keep this one going, but actually curled less than the last one, not quite as much weight. Peel the top one, chance at the double peel. And Elena Jentsch. Well, make the double peel. Leaves the shooter just out in front off the center line. It is Germany lying one side of the 12-foot here, this extra end. Italy lost 2 straight games. They're trying to avoid a 3rd straight. They come in at 2-4. Germany 0-5. With the 6 teams making the playoffs. They win out, and they may have a chance in that spot, but they need to win out and get lots of help. 6 losses probably too many.
No, siamo a 4-5. Aspetta, sennò vai in overcare.
It's looking for the guard, but the sweeper's calling us into the house.
Tira. Oh, vai. Okay, basta.
Line's pretty good here, though.
Okay.
Probably just showing a sliver, which is pretty perfect. Just want to stay as close to that center line, but still force Germany to peel the guard. That's essentially a guard stone for Italy. Come around that.
You got to try different spots, different tactics.
Oh, that's a good call by Skip Daniela Jentsch to call off the sweepers.
Sometimes it's hard to do to get them to get off and make that decision to commit to it.
Yeah, they're peeling that on the high side, just way tight from Abbas. But curls enough across the nose to roll quite far, but it might make that out-turn draw a little more difficult. So much swing in the ice, that might be a nuisance. And because Italy's guarding a stone on the other side, it's a little bit tricky. Both sides will, both the natural paths to the button anyway, will be kind of blocked off. Need to get this across.
Well, it does no good if it's not in play.
I'm not sure.
I think it got just over. Must have been that power sweeping from the skip, Deanna Gaspari, to help drag that one.
I can tell you that's always a bit of a panicky thing as a sweeper. You're just tugging away and just hoping. It's always worth it when it creeps over. Because it has pretty good line, Germany will still peel it.
Have to be aware that they don't catch it off one of those side ones though too. So cautious peel.
It could have been almost tempting to peel us the other way. You might be able to move that red stone that they placed on the left there. They made a double, or at least just move that over, open up the left-hand side here as we see it.
Well, 7-7, an 11th end. Skip stones upcoming.
Dovrebbe arrivare qua. Sì. Qua, vero? Sì. Se anche a 8 non è male.
Decision come around now. Well, Italy had to play actually an extra end earlier today too against Korea. Well, they were fortunate to play the extra end. They were down 7-1 at that point, came back.
4? Ok. Un attimo di più. Ok.
So wanted to go in behind. They can go back 4, back 8 with this one. Wanting wanting Germany to play the straight back.
Yeah, if you come top 4, the hills are all too close together, so definitely T-line, but yeah, back 4 is pretty good too. It's just about closing down the scoring area as much as possible, but don't leave the double. Pretty sure Danielle Jentsch would throw the hit. This one is just shy for weight. Line was pretty good. A couple of feet more, definitely past that hill.
Well, the hope now for Gaspari in Italy is that on the double it sits there, and then you still have something to draw behind.
Ja. Philip, erst den an der Mitte, ja. Yes. Ja. Aber das müsste passen. Ja.
So Danielle Jentsch, 73% on her takeouts on the game.
Yep. Sauber. Yep. Ho. Ho. Sauber. Yep. Yep. Ho. 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 Sauber.
Love to get a little action and roll this away as well by making the double.
Super.
Karam's through to sit 1-2.
That's pretty good. Not able to roll it away from the center, but is able to slide deeper. So even if Italy comes around it, it's now a much shorter run back to make. Probably just want to throw this as deep as you can, still lie shot.
Yeah, and at most it's going to be 5 feet of a run back,
Yeah,
6 feet run back at most.
Just maybe just hang on the very back of the back 4. Maybe force Jentsch to make the tap or follow on the draw.
Probably see Jentsch, would assume, play the straight back because they wouldn't even have to stick the shooter. Have the other ones. So.
Yeah, we shall see.
First have to make this one for Diana Gaspari.
Just through the same line here. So add a few feet of weight.
Ok, linea buona. Si può aspettare? Oh. Oh. No.
Getting to curl a bit. Took quite a bit of ice on this one. Starting to make a move now though. Looking real good here. Just want to drag it as far as possible.
Oh, and
they've left
really
it.
Dove. That jumped on him. Just had perfect weight.
Just Gaspari calling off the sweepers of her line early on, but didn't have the weight that they were expecting. I think I'd call that an error on the sweepers, really.
Looked like she had a gorgeous shot, and instead now has the open hit. Does not even have to stick around for Germany to get win number 1. Danielle Jentsch, her 4th straight trip to the World Championship. Sitting at 0-5, chance to make it 1-5. And no problem there. She'll stick around too. Put on 3 for good measure, and it'll be a 10-7 victory for Germany over Italy. 3 straight losses for the Italians to drop to 2-5. Germany improves to 1-5 now, their first win of the tournament.
Okay.
Well, sometimes you need to just get that first win, and it works for Germany. Well, our feature game, Russia defeating Japan 7-4, runs Japan out of stones in the 10th. Look back to our feature game, Japan and Russia, 5th end. And a chance at a skips deuce here. There's a couple of misses by Japan. Tori Kawana and Victoria Moiseva. Quiet hit and stick, avoid the jam. And a deuce and a 4-point lead halfway through 7th end. And Japan trying to battle back. Makes a great freeze on her first. Little minor miscue by Moiseva in Russia. Leaves the button open and a draw for 2 for the Japanese champion, Tori Kawana. Draw to the button. Perfect. Right to the forward logo to score 2. And in 8, trying to battle back. The draw just comes out the other side a little bit. And opportunity for a quality team shot for Russia. Victoria Moiseva throws it to the sweepers. Right to it. Taps it back. And the 2. Gives them their 4-point lead back. And in the 10th, Russia's able to run Japan out of stones for the 7-4 Russian victory. Well, the other results, Sweden stays unbeaten, beating Czech Republic 8-6. USA knocks off Switzerland 7-5. It was 7-4. You saw Russia beating Japan, and 10-7. Germany gets their first win against Italy in an extra end. And that leaves us after 10 sessions. Sweden and Canada top, unbeaten. Korea right behind at 4-1. Then Russia at 4-2. China, Czech Republic, Japan, USA all at 3-3. Then Switzerland 2-4. Italy 2-5. And Denmark, Germany, and Scotland all with just 1 win to round out the standings.
You suffered a tough loss to China yesterday. Take us through the process of, coming over the loss and then returning today to win over Japan.
It was really hard yesterday, of course, and we talked a lot with the team. We, of course, were pretty mad on ourselves that we let this happen, and it was really important for us to win this game. And not only win, but to feel the confidence to feel it back.
How did you feel you were playing today as a team?
I really like that. We talked more than we usually do. We discussed about the stone more than we usually do, and all of that helped for us to get back into the rhythm.
And playoff chances, how do you feel about them?
We don't feel about that often because it's still a lot of games. It's only the half now, so everything can happen, but we, of course, really hoping for that.
Great, thanks, you, and congrats.
Well, Victoria Moiseva here in the Ford World Women's Curling Championship. For Sandra Rovog, myself, Luke Coley. Thanks for watching. Slide over to the other side.